Minute two. So. Thanks everyone for being here. We are going to give it just about 120 more seconds maybe, and then we'll go ahead and get started. We're really excited about the topic today. To those that have joined us, we're going to just start in another 60 seconds. Thank you all so much for being here. Okay. I don't know if that was 60 seconds. I didn't actually have a timer. Um, Thank you all so much for joining us today. I am super excited about the conversation we're going to have today with some really not just brilliant people, but people who have really figured out the best ways for them to give back to our community, which is what this is all about. So thank you for being here, everyone. Before we get started, I just wanted to give you a little bit of information about I Live Here, I Give Here, for those of you that might be new to our programs and services. So the mission at I Live Here, I Give Here is to amplify giving in Central Texas. And we're trying to get folks to cultivate and create deeper connections for givers and for the issues that they really care about. But our community-wide programs like Amplify Austin Day, which is our big giving day in March, and our year-round specialty programs for businesses and for nonprofits and for individuals really makes giving possible for everyone. And we're really trying to reach everyone where they are to make sure that giving is as seamless as possible. So here at I Live Here, I Give Here, we envision a Central Texas where every single community member is engaged in giving. On Amplify Austin Day, about 30,000 people every year give on Amplify Austin Day, and a huge chunk of those people are new every year. And that's awesome, but we still have a long ways to go to get the over 1 million people in Central Texas giving back. So if you'd like to learn more about our programs events, you can do so at ilivehereigivehere.org. So at I Live Here, I Give Here, one of the things that we recognize and feel very strongly about is that there are so many ways to give back. And that oftentimes people think that giving back just means giving their money. Sometimes they think about volunteering their time. But we really strongly believe that giving back can take so many forms. In fact, we love this idea of the 5 T's. And so the 5 T's for us are time. This is the amount of time that you give, including attending events, working at Tree Folks. That's a picture of our team volunteering at Tree Folks. Um, Going to board meetings and participating in fundraising. All of that is you giving your time. Another T that we all know about is treasure. This is you um, donating $5 a month to KUT, or sending a gift from your donor advised fund, which Amy's going to take to talk to us all about, to a healthcare clinic. This is the money piece. That's the treasure piece. But then these last three are ones that we don't necessarily talk about. And I have a feeling that Amy and Jerica and Alex are going to sort of weave into what they're saying today. But one is talent. And this is you using your very specific skills and expertise, whether you know how to fix a website. Nonprofits always need help fixing websites. You have an HR background. We always need help with HR. You know how to clean out a closet. Everybody needs to clean the closet cleaned out. So using your talent in some ways to support a nonprofit. Testimony is you sharing your story to inspire others, and advocate for change. This could be you saying, I rescued my dog from the Hill Country Golden Rescue. It was a wonderful experience. I love my dog. And letting people know that you utilized a nonprofit and that it really made a difference in your life. And then ties. This is you using your network to amplify the causes that you care about. And this is also a very easy way to give back. The other day I learned, and I know I'm a little slow to this, but I learned about a great organization called Torch Literary Arts. And they are making sure that Black African American women writers have everything that they need to practice their craft. Um, and the person who started this organization is amazing, and I really love this mission. And so I sent an email to my mom and my sister and my sister-in-law and my network to let them know that I had just learned about this awesome organization. And that resulted in both me giving, but also my family and friends learning about and then wanting to contribute to this organization. And so these five T's are just all the different ways that you can start giving back. And that's what this organization is for. And I would argue that's why we are on this earth, is to make our community and our world better. And so with that, I am super excited to open up our panel today. And today we are talking about all the different ways that you can start giving back. And we are featuring three amazing panelists. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but I really want to welcome Alex Bryant, Amy Merida, and Jerica Deloney Whitty. Thank you so much for being here. I am so grateful, and I think that you are not only going to inspire, but give some like super pro tips on how to start getting involved. So with that, I'm actually going to start with Alex, if you don't mind. I would love for you to just give us the overview of you and sort of how you started giving back, and then I'm going to ask you a couple questions. So tell us about yourself, please.
Yeah, of course. Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining this call. And I'm happy to join you. And thank you, Piper, and the I Live Here, Give Here team for the invite. Currently, I'm a project manager at GSCNM, which is an ad agency here in Austin. And my giving back journey actually starts when I was 5 years old, growing up in the UK, into a military family, and helping out at the library at my school. And I've just loved helping people ever since then. Since then, I've moved to the States in 2006 through the US Air Force with my dad. So I had like two types of education, the British and an American one. And then I went to college at Angelo State University in San Angelo in 2014 when I graduated. And I was really involved on campus, giving back in different ways. I started a graphic design club because I'm a graphic design major, and wanted to give back to local organizations in that area with logos and stuff like that, but also give my fellow peers the opportunity to have like that real life experience. So using our skills to like create websites and logos and flyers and posters and all that kind of stuff. And then my career shifted into social media and production. So my work went to CBS as an intern and worked at Entertainment Tonight, which I think it comes on KVUE in the Austin area with
Good
Kevin
plug.
Frazier and Michelle Turner. So I was their intern for a little bit, and I did that kind of stuff. And over there in Los Angeles, I gave back to different organizations in production, like the NAACP Image Awards, and I had the opportunity for the 2028 Olympic Committee, um, to do that. So they was looking for volunteers too, and that was just helping out with the bike races and getting people involved in parades and things. I brought my wife along for that too, so that was been really fun. And then I moved back to the Austin area in like 2019, and I was introduced to a nonprofit, two organizations. One was the ATX TV Festival that happens in the middle of June, late May, running their social media with that little group. And then there's also a local nonprofit here in Austin called the Comfort Crew for Military Kids. So growing up as a military kid, I really aligned with that cause and helped out in a variety of ways, even got the agency to help out with the operational fundraising event that they have every year. And then the Circuit of Americas also, because I'm a big car guy, so I love the big races like Formula One and MotoGP and IndyCar and NASCAR, and was a volunteer there too. So there's a variety of different ways, but using skills and going out there. But that's kind of like how my journey started from like my career and volunteering blends together.
That's amazing. Can you please repeat what is the festival in the summertime that you work with here?
Oh, sorry. At the beginning when I came, yeah, it's the ATX TV Festival.
ATX TV Festival. Oh yeah, that's gotten bigger and bigger too. Love that. Thank you for
Yes.
that.
Yeah, I
So,
can.
Alex, that's awesome. I love that you just talked about giving so many of the T's, but specifically treasure with the fundraising, time, talent. It's just awesome. So, you also serve, I think, as a mentor and as an advisor for some nonprofits. Is
Yeah.
that right? Can you talk to us a little bit about serving as a mentor?
Yeah, so serving as a mentor, so I work in the advertising industry and I'm also love giving back to people from different walks of life and wants to get into the industry. So one of them is through the Ad to Austin, through the American Advertising Federation as part of their, it's one of their chapters here in the Austin's area. And then they also have an Ad to branch as well for young professionals to get into that work. And I mentor about three from that group right now, just about, they're either like copywriting to design, creative, art direction, or producing, like doing commercials and working on the production side behind the scenes. So that's been really helpful. And then you mentioned about being an advisor. I served for a couple of years for a nonprofit called the Leaders Readers Network that provides students and teachers and librarians with brand new books for their schools and libraries across the country, but they also focus in the Central Texas area, as well as like San Antonio and Austin, but then also Amarillo as well. So,
That is
yeah.
so cool. The array of ways that you give back is super cool. Like I didn't understand as we were coming into this. So that's really awesome. Tell me, and then you've been on a board of directors as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I served as the board of directors, and they brought me on as a marketing role. So they wanted to bring my advertising background, my production background, and I helped them redesign their website to helping like streamline their social media and marketing efforts. Because with nonprofits, there's only like limited resources. So any way to streamline things really made it easier for them. And being in a board role, that actually kind of sparked from actually, from the I Live Here, I Give Here, they have a special program called the Board Training Program. And I really wanted to be on the board directors. And I was like, oh, what's a special way? And there's a really cool way, just a little plug. But also, I found it really helpful just to know about the financials, like the T's, like the ties. Of course, like if you're serving in a board, some require a financial support, like being on a
Okay.
fundraising board or if you're being on an operational board, but then also learning how to work with a variety of different people from different backgrounds and how we can all work together. But then also, you're helping a cause special to your heart at a larger scale and a long-term scale, so it can be structured and work for the long term as compared to like working at a volunteer level. So, I've been volunteering all these different places, and then I joined a committee. And then once I joined the committee, that's when I was like, okay, I want to join at a more of a leadership role, like a chair role, and then I go from there.
I love that. Thank you. And thank you for I do think our board training program is one of the best ways to learn how to be a board member. So thank you for that. It is November 18th this year. Alex, I just wanted to ask you one more question before I move on. Amy, I'm going to hit you up next. But you mentioned working with GSD&M to fundraise for the Comfort Crew. I believe that was the organization. I wanted to ask you, as you're doing all these work, the different ways of work with all the T's, how do you build the treasure component in? Are you raising money for every one of these organizations? Are you giving money to each one of these organizations? How do you work that, or how do you work that into this?
Yeah, I guess for me, like I try to compartmentalize which organizations do need the funding more. So I do individual fundraising, and then I send an invite out if people want to donate any amount. You know, it doesn't have to be thousands or hundreds of dollars. It could be, like you said, it could be $5, it could be $1. You know, anything helps. But collectively, it all adds up. But in regards to my agency, we have for like volunteer hours a month that we can go to different organizations. And I shared with the group saying like, oh, you know, this event's coming up, you know, they need some operational support. You know, that I said that was a bigger help for them that they need because the fundraiser, they are their team is that their staff is actually doing the fundraising for the attendees to go, and it's like a pickleball tournament, which they actually have there coming up November 4th. Um, but yeah, we were just there to operate, like umpire the pickleball. They had a little silent auction stand, and then they had people, you know, up for like a photo op to take pictures with their deployment kits and stuff like that too. That also goes to military children that are impacted, like with PTSD, loss of a parent, and that kind of stuff too. And it was just a great informational opportunity
Yeah,
to learn more
perfect.
about a nonprofit in our area. So
Yeah.
and then every year there's a fourth year potentially helping them out again in that way. So and more people have been more and more involved, especially because people know someone from a military background as well. But there's also a variety of different ways that people can give back, and that's how we did it with the Comfort Crew in this area. But and I also use the example when I was in college, I needed to add some stuff to my portfolio, and at the time I didn't have no money to donate. But I would so I reached out. It's called the Green Team for Helping Hands, and they help the unhoused in the Greensboro, North Carolina area. And I was like, I don't have no money. I'm a college student, but I can. I'm a designer, and I can make a logo. And the reaction, because usually as a designer, we're like you're getting so much like criticism and you know back and forth with it. But this nonprofit, her name is Ashley Benton. She's the CEO of it, and she's like, I love your design. I was like, what are you looking for? Call yourself the Green Team, and don't see much green. And I was like, hit the logo in green and stuff like that. And the beautiful story out of that, she shared it on her socials about a student reaching out, wanting to do some design. I'm like, hey, I've got some stuff to add to my portfolio. It's a real organization. They're certified and everything. And my graphics professor was super excited. And then a printer based out of Arizona saw the post about it and said like, oh, we'll print this logo on t-shirts. And I was like, what? This design's on a t-shirt too and stuff like that too. Fast forward 10 years later, to the early of this year, she was featured on the Jennifer Hudson show, and she took a picture, and there's that logo I designed in college on her TV show, and I was like, wow, you know. So what a cool way just to show your skills, but then also see the difference you've made for the organization. And they've raised up to $250,000 to help their cause in that span of time and those many meals. So yeah.
That is awesome. That is a great story. That is awesome. I love that. I have to be honest, it's not all the time that you see like an absolute impact, especially 10 years later. So that's really pretty amazing. Thank you,
Yeah,
Alex. I'm really
of
grateful.
course.
Um, Amy, would you please introduce yourself? Give us your role at the Central Texas Community Foundation.
Absolutely. So my name's Amy. I am the executive director for Central Texas Community Foundation. I've been there over 11 years now, which it feels like I've been there my whole life, and it also feels like it can possibly be that long already. Um, you know, my background, I put my big toe into giving back when I was 14 years old, and there was this missions trip to Guadalajara, Mexico, and I thought that sounds cool. I'm gonna go. We were helping build houses and feeding and working in orphanages and all kinds of things. And I remember the first morning I woke up, we stayed with people that lived there. And I instantly realized how blessed I was, how much I had. And I didn't grow up in a wealthy family. And I always felt like my parents wouldn't spend money on the coolest jeans or whatever. They're kind of like, no, you're fine, you're good. If they were trying to raise a kid that wasn't spoiled, I think. And I it changed me. I thought, I can't believe my eyes were open at a really young age that there are needs that go way beyond anything I could see or anything I could think of. It's really what grounded me in my philosophy. If you're having a bad day, if life hasn't been going your way, if things have just really stunk, in your life, go help somebody else. Go do something for someone that can't pay you back, that there's no debt created. It's just going and serving. Sometimes it's giving some, we see them on the side of the road, and whatever your political beliefs are, or whatever, however you feel about that person, they're in a situation where they have a need, and maybe all you have is $2, or maybe when Amplify Austin comes around, you're like, I got $5 to give. Maybe you've got $5,000 to give. You've got something you can give back. But I love hearing everyone's like origin story of how it started. And the mere fact that you're on this call means that there's something that tugs at your heart, and you're like, the world should be different. Or maybe I have a part to play where I can change things. And that's kind of what got my wheels turning. So ever since I stuck my big toe out of college, I've worked in the nonprofit space, and I actually was a CFO. So I managed the finances and the grants, and I was 25, 26 when I got my first big job working at the Texas Center for the Judiciary. And about 8 months after I started, we inherited millions in federal grants, and we had to start. And these were statewide grants. And sometimes the nonprofit that we needed to partner with was a sole source provider, and they weren't sophisticated. They did not have all
Didn't have that.
ducks in a row. They didn't know how to submit a reimbursement for grant expenses or what allowable expenses were. So I found myself and my staff doing rehab, kind of, coaching up and taking these nonprofits under our wings and just imparting to them the knowledge that I had, in financial management, fundraising, development. All of those things kind of wrap up into the successful operation of a business. So fast forward to 11 years ago, my first marching orders from the board were to be a resource to the nonprofit community. They said, we don't want to just be a bank. We don't want to just be a grant-making organization. We want impact. And that's why they hired me. And so I wasn't quite sure what that meant. But my first year at the Central Texas Community Foundation, which back then we were Greater Round Rock Community Foundation, I took 372 appointments with local nonprofits. Because if you're lucky enough to be funded by some of the amazing funders in this area, you do get a lot of coaching, you get a lot of information. But the vast majority of nonprofits in Central Texas are grassroots, they're homegrown, and they're just people who said, hey, there's this problem in the world, and they start yelling about the problem. They're like, who's fixing this problem? And then they realize that no one's going to fix the problem, so they just start fixing the problem. And then someone goes, hey, I'd give you some money to fix that problem if you were a 501c3, and a light bulb goes off. So they scoop up their 501c3, and they run as hard and as fast as they can, and they get volunteers and donors. And unfortunately, what happens for a lot of nonprofits in the 3 to 5 year mark is they burn through all of that. And if they don't reach sustainability, they won't be in existence. And so I just started saying, come on in, come talk. Let's figure out the pathway to sustainability for you. Do you have metrics? Do you get that? Make sure that 990 is submitted on time. And as soon as you get enough money, you start getting an audit. All of these pieces, teaching them public speaking. Some of them have never spoke, they know how to fix the problem, but they're not eloquent at communicating how they're fixing the problem. And So year one, two, three, four, five, six, even, that's what I did. I spent the majority of my time not developing assets and grant making, not working with philanthropists, but really working with the nonprofit community. But my available time got less and less. And, the price point for doing these one-on-one conversations is very expensive, and so we really
Yeah.
started looking, how do we do this to scale? What other things can this organization do to continue capacity building and information and resourcing these nonprofits? And we're getting ready next year. We, in partnership with the Georgetown Health Foundation, will be launching the Center for Nonprofit Success, which is not what I'm here to talk about. More information on that later. But it's that on steroids times a million, for all of Central Texas. We have a 30 county footprint, and we want to help them all, and we want to resource them all. So anyway, that was a huge long intro. Sorry.
No, it's wonderful. And I'm really, really excited about the Center for Nonprofit Success. I think it's going to be amazing. I will say that one of the things that I'm really hoping you can share with folks is around donor advised funds. I think people hear the term donor advised fund, or DAF as it's so frequently referred to, and it seems highfalutin. Like it seems like it's I don't know. I don't know where that phrase comes from. I'm going to double check that I can use highfalutin. But it seems like sort of out of reach, something that only really rich people would have. Can you please give us like the 101 on donor advised funds, what they are, what you need to open a donor advised funds, why you would do that as someone who's not a millionaire? Could you just give us that basic, please?
Absolutely. I'm going to talk about donor advised funds, and I'm going to talk about other kinds of funds that can be opened for philanthropic causes at a community foundation. And I'm going to approach it from both ends of the spectrum. Unless you've got 50 million, you don't need to create a family foundation. You can do everything you want to do without all of the red tape under the umbrella of a community foundation. But to Piper's point, you don't need to be a millionaire. I have a gentleman, he works at Dell, and Dell has a wonderful match program. They match up to $10,000 every year. And he's from the Cameroon area of Africa. His sister died from dirty drinking water that was full of bacteria. And so his entire mission is to create wells in certain areas in Africa. And he partners with Peace Corps and other things. But this gentleman has had a donor advised fund for the past, I'd say, 17 years. And he just puts $200 from his paycheck every month, and Dell puts $200 to match it. And he has done projects across, all across Africa, and it was a slow and steady pace. A donor advised fund is a vehicle. Here's how to know if that's right for you. If you give $1,000 a year and you know where you want to give it, you don't want a donor advised fund. If you have a plan or a dream, I met someone the other day, and their dream is they want to have a grant process for down payment assistance for underserved communities.
Mm.
And they're like, is there a way to make that tax deductible for me and my friends to contribute to? The answer is yes, absolutely, 100%. Some community foundations provide additional services other than just investing your philanthropic dollars and helping you grant out. We're one of those entities. So every piece of software and technology that we have, we give to anyone who has a fund with us. So if you wanted a grant process, if you wanted a scholarship fund, if you're saying, my company wants to really invest in first generation college students that are pursuing art, or maybe they're pursuing engineering, or maybe it's a trade school. Maybe it's not what you think it would be. I believe that there is a way to make every single philanthropic goal happen, and a community foundation is most frequently the right partner. But not all community foundations are created equal. You need creativity. You need someone to say, what you want to do isn't possible the way you want to do it, but it can be done this other way. So a donor advised fund allows you to do one of two things. So if you have a tax situation, if you sell a business, or you inherit some money, or Maybe you get stock every year. It's a gift from your employer, and you're thinking, I don't want to have to pay capital gains taxes on this, and I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with it. Maybe I'll leave it for my kids and my grandkids to figure out because it's too complicated, it's too messy. If you donate stock, for example, you pay zero in capital gains taxes, not a dime, and you get the full tax write-off for the value of it. So whether it was gifted to you where you paid nothing for it, or let's say I bought stock at $2 and now it's worth $100. Well, your tax write-off isn't what you paid for it, it's what the value is. And so there are a multitude of ways where you can start creating funds for a donor advised fund, and then you get to grant as and when you want. Immediate tax write-off and then strategic grant making. And usually the people that open a donor advised funds, they have one or two, you fit in one group or the other. You're building to do something big or something continuous and you want those dollars to grow, because we absolutely invest our philanthropic dollars so that they grow over time and the dollar is able to do more. Or it's a tax situation, as in, I don't, most people, when you ask them, would you rather pay Uncle Sam or would you do something for charity? Almost everyone would say, hey, if I could, I'm going to have to pay some money out anyway, and I'm going to choose where I'm going to put those funds. Most would choose to do something for the community, something larger. Not everyone. I do meet people occasionally. They're like, we love taxes. They're out there. Strange. They're not me. I mean, I don't mind paying them. We want to support services that are necessary, but
I like roads.
I like roads. Yes, I like taking care of people that need to be taken care of and help and all of those good things. So I'm okay with the taxes, but I still feel better when I can direct where my dollars go when I want to.
I love that. Amy, thank you so much. I think for me, I opened a DAF because I didn't know always where I wanted my money to go. And I think of it sort of as this growing savings account where I get to pull money that I've already set aside. I already got the tax break from it. And I think of it as free money. So if someone comes to me and they say, I've got this organization I love, I can so easily say, I'd love to send them some money because I have this money over here set aside and I don't have to worry about, but so I do love my donor advised fund. Thank you so much for that.
Health savings account, but it's your it's your charitable savings account.
Your community savings account. Yeah, I love that. I love that. That's such a great way to think about it.
And another option for someone that has a DAF, at least for us, is maybe you don't know who you want to fund and you're like, can I create a grant application process? Absolutely. You can just say, hey, Central Texas Community Foundation, you have a wide net of nonprofits. Post this and let's see what kind of applications we get for my very narrow, I only want to fund this, but I don't know where those organizations are. A DAF with a community foundation that enables you to have a grant management process is a wonderful way to make those things happen.
I love that. Well, thank you to you and thank you to Central Texas Community Foundation for making sure that that's a clear, sort of easy process for people. So thank you. Okay, Jerica, hi. Thank you for being patient. I'm so excited to talk to you about giving circles. And I would love to hear, first of all, I would love to hear who you are, what you do, but I would love to hear about how you got engaged in giving circles. And I think that you're engaged with 2. So I just threw everything at you.
3.
Oh, I'm so excited. I just started another one in the last 5 minutes. It's actually 4 now. tell us, please. First of all, tell us who you are and what you do.
Sure. So my name is Jerica Deloney Whitty. By day, I work as a product manager for a great company that builds musical therapy tools for those aging older adults with cognitive decline. But in all this free time that I have, I'm very heavily involved in my community through giving circles. So I am a member and a board member of Impact Austin. I'm also a council member for Grateful Giving, which is a tech application that empowers people to give back with every purchase that they make. And we also have a giving circle there and various other community engagements. But I think my journey to giving back started with service. So through my school, through my church, through my parents' encouragement, through Girl Scouts, just doing those service activities as a child and really loving them. As Amy spoke to before, like if you're having a bad day or you're just needing a boost, being able to be involved in community, helping the community just became a hobby of mine. And that really never left my thoughts about what it is I wanted to do. During college, I did an internship here in Austin with an organization helping Hand Home for Children. One of my professors recommended me for that. He's like, I think you might want to go into nonprofit service and you don't know it yet. And I was like, tell me more. And I have been in love with that organization ever since. So it's always just been a part of my life that I make a priority of, whether it's giving time, talent, treasure, just really makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Before working in tech, I worked in the nonprofit sector, including a short stint at I Live Here, I Give Here.
Yeah.
And I
So
decided to transition into tech. I wanted to make sure that I was still grounded in community and I had ways to give back and I didn't lose that part of myself and I had ways to prioritize it and also continuously learn about the needs of our community. Being born and raised in Austin, I am very passionate about the city and there's a lot of things that I don't want us to lose. And I think for me, I can help maintain those things through my service work.
That's amazing. First of all, I love that all of us, it seems, are doing this job, and some of our jobs are jobs giving back, but then around that, we're doing all these other things to give back as well. Can you start, please, and just talk a little bit about Impact Austin? You mentioned Impact Austin. For those that don't know, tell us a little bit more about Impact Austin and your role, if you want.
Sure. It's really hard for me to talk a little bit about Impact Austin because I am obsessed with the work that we do. Piper, you were on a panel with me not too long ago discussing philanthropy and giving back. But Giving Circles, just a step back before I dive into Impact Austin, it is a group of people that come together to pool their resources and jointly decide how they want to invest those funds. In our organization with Impact Austin, we really strongly stress building and fostering community with all of our members, increasing our knowledge and understanding of philanthropy, of nonprofits. We all come from various different backgrounds. Some have direct nonprofit experience, some have never been part of a giving circle or giving before. So we really strive to make sure that everyone understands the goal of our organization and why organizations like us are so important. So for us with Impact Austin, we are a women's giving organization. And we have a grant cycle once a year. And we have three focus areas, health and well-being, community and education, and any nonprofit that is serving the 4-county area of Central Texas are able to apply. And we have committees that review these grant applications. We whittle them down over a 4-month process. And then we take our committees on site visits to the last 3 in each category. We get to see what the nonprofit does. And then those committees will give kind of an overview and recommendation to our general membership. And then everyone gets to vote on how we give our funds. And Impact Austin has been around for over 20 years. We've given out over $9 million to Central Texas nonprofits.
Wow.
Yeah, in my role, I handle a lot of the logistics. I work as a grants coordinator, and me and my partner, we're working now to prep for January when we kick off, just making sure that we have all the logistics. We do a lot of education around what are nonprofits, what are their needs. We recently transitioned to unrestricted grants last year. So I wrote a lot of papers and resources and also pointed to other greater resources so our members really understand why unrestricted giving is so important, especially now. So really my main focus is just making sure people feel enabled to be part of the process no matter what their background is.
That is so cool. Yeah, and I've been a member of Impact Austin for a number of years, so I get the emails. And I love the way that you all are bringing it for you're just opening it up. You're making it more equitable. You're making it more clear and simple. And as I keep saying, that's key. So thank you very much. Can you talk a little bit about Grateful Giving too, please?
Sure. So Grateful Giving, as I mentioned, is a tech company. It's an app where either nonprofits or individual community members can set up to get a percentage of their purchases to either a specific nonprofit or nonprofit pool. I found them working in the tech space, and I started as an advisory council member, so just volunteering my time as a product manager to like advise like what I would do in my app, how I would design it. And then that organization opened up leadership giving circles around the country. Austin is, I believe, one of our largest, and we meet quarterly as a group. And we do kind of what Impact Austin does on a very short timeline. So in our Zoom call, we'll review the nonprofits that our team has submitted for consideration. We'll review needs that we are aware of in Central Texas, kind of like what the climate is for that particular area of giving. And then on that call, we vote and give a micro grant. So everyone gives about $100, some give more, and then we'll give that award. And usually in our next quarterly meeting, that organization will hop on the Zoom and kind of tell us how that's impacted them. And it's a really quick way of giving. On a faster scale, you get to kind of see that immediate impact. And it's just nice to be able to network with people for me who are in the tech space typically, who are looking for ways to give. So it's kind of a very quick grant review process from Impact Austin, kind of shrunk down into an hour-and-a-half Zoom call once a quarter.
So cool. Wait, and is that the third giving circle? Is that like Grateful Giving and then sub, or is there a third separate one?
There's a lot of things that I do.
Okay.
One of my big things that I like to do is continuously learn. So whether I'm volunteering with other organizations around town that do giving circles or grant review processes, my involvement in nonprofits is also a way for me to get to use skills that I don't get to use as a product manager. So I love to facilitate. I love to talk about philanthropy. I didn't consider myself a philanthropist until I found Impact Austin because of the scale of our impact. And I think it's really empowering for people to find ways to do things that they feel are out of reach or things that they aren't able to do because of the level of their giving. So I am plugged into a lot of different organizations because truly that is my passion. Tech is just a great way for me to help people on a larger, different scale and still be able to afford to live in Austin.
Right, right. Just a small thing. That's great. Thank you so much. Y'all, I cannot tell you how cool it is to hear all the different ways that you got started in giving and the ways that you're giving back. It's really pretty amazing. I do want to open this up for questions, but before I do that, I'm curious, what's next for you? I have to be honest, I am on a board, and I have two kiddos who have volunteered, but one of my next jobs is to figure out, as I'm rolling off this board, what is the next thing that I do? As my kids are getting older, how do we volunteer now? Like I have sort of next steps that I have to figure out. And I'm curious whether you all have sort of your next steps for how you're going to move down your giving journey. Amy, I'll start with you this time. Do you have next steps for how you're going to sort of further your giving journey?
For me as an individual or us as an organization?
Well, I sort of was opening the door for you to talk a little bit more about the Center for Nonprofit Success.
Okay.
But if you want to do individual, that's great too. You can choose your adventure.
I just wanted to make sure, since I represent a grant making organization.
Either one, because you also do so much as an individual. Like I see you and all your so either one is great.
I don't know that anyone wants to know about me as an individual. The Central Texas Community Foundation, the Center for Nonprofit Success, is much more interesting. So I mentioned this when I started, that Central Texas Community Foundation didn't just want to be a grant making entity. We didn't want the greatest thing about us to be the size of our assets and the amount of money we've actually given out. We wanted to do more. We wanted to invest in these nonprofits because they don't know what they don't know. They need help, they need support. And you might think, I love meeting brand new nonprofits, small, invisible, struggling, but the number of well-established organizations that have come through our doors and asked for advice, because the struggles for even a large organization, now they're, people think, oh, well, you're so well funded, you can't possibly need anything else. Or, oh, you're a national organization. I just want to fund locally, when the local chapter has to raise every dollar that they get locally.
Plus pay up to the national.
Yes. And here's another struggle I see all the time. Austin-based organizations that can't get funding outside of Austin because everyone thinks, oh, well, in the surrounding counties are very stingy they don't want to put money in Austin. They want to keep it in their county. And so I will tell them things like, make a pie chart and show 40% of our work is in Williamson County, and this is how much Williamson County funds. So Austin is subsidizing you, Williamson County. Get with the pull it together. But the Center for Nonprofit Success is, we've put $500,000 into this project. It is an AI platform. We spent about 4 or 5 months getting licensed with the Standards for Excellence Institute out of Maryland. So we are the 13th replication partner in the United States. And the standards is the binder's like this big. So it's best practices, leading practices, in every area, in every facet, legal, ethics, accounting, development, fundraising, advocacy, inclusion, all those things, anything that a nonprofit could need. And it's not just the how-tos, it's the blueprints as well. So we have an AI developer, the same one that AWS uses. It's big, it's robust, and it will be the first of its kind. Nonprofit sector stays 20 to 30 years behind the private sector historically. We want to give them a giant leap forward with technology, where in their own language they could type, what policies should a nonprofit have? Just like you would in ChatGPT. And it says, here are all the policies, their best practices, and then here are the blueprints, so that they have those components and those pieces. Or, I've never created a budget. How do I do that? How-tos for a budget, sample budget, things you consider. And then in addition to that, we'll be doing in-person trainings, webinars, series, so that they will get fully integrated and launched. And we're hoping that what we're creating is going to provide a solution for all funders in the area, and that now there's something more than just a rejection letter or declination meeting that says, by the way, there is a place where you can go to start building on these things, so that you can increase your own internal capacity and increase your knowledge base. And, if it was a big nonprofit, 100 years old, and they get a new board member, and that board member's never served at a nonprofit before, there are implications and there's information for anyone that touches anywhere in the nonprofit space. And anyway, I could talk about this for hours and hours, and I talk really fast, and I don't want to hog all this. Is that, Piper, did I get
Perfect? You did great. Tell me one last thing. When does it launch? When is the expected launch?
Expected launch is probably March of 26. AI is learning right now, and we are doing the UX and the beautiful, the database and the membership portal. So it's going to take us a while. We're going to beta test at the end of this year, and we're going to tweak, and then we hope to launch by the end of the first quarter in 26.
It's amazing. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Alex, can you tell us, what are sort of your next plans for you've done so much in so many interesting ways. What are your next plans?
That's a very good question. I think it kind of ties back to the 5 T's you were talking about at the beginning of this conversation. Like, when you're talking about ties, like you ties to my network and just encouraging more people. That's actually one of the intentions I came on this call too, is to encourage there's different ways to give back, like the intention of this whole topic and together. So I think that's my biggest thing right now, just showcasing, okay, this is another way you can give back. You can give back through your talent, using your skills, and then, some places you can grow your skills that way, and that can also help you lead to a different job, a new job, if you wanted to be promoted in your job, but then also helping the cause that matters to you. And then other organizations I'm still part of is one, because I've noticed some people on this call are from CGRAPH. So that was it's a nonprofit. That's an international nonprofit based in New York, but they host biannual conferences in Asia and North America. And it's like the largest computer graphics and interactive techniques conference in the world. And I saw that as a student volunteer, and I've performed different roles on that in the organization through one year I was like a roving reporter. I was like interviewing attendees. What do you think of this panel? What do you think of this? Can you do some icebreakers and things like that? So, that might be an organization. I think for me, I'm leaning more towards board service, doing more different boards and stuff like that. Like mine's are usually aligned with it, like education and nutrition, but also like my background's in like graphics and television and stuff too. But then even recently, I really wanted to do something tedious, so I went to the Central Texas Food Bank and I was putting carrots in bags and stuff, and I didn't have to think about meetings or work or any of that kind of stuff too. So just having that time just to give back, it was really meaningful too, and just seeing how that's going to impact like, multiple counties in the area and just help when you can. So that was just such a fun thing. So I would just encourage people to just go out and try it,
Try things.
Try it for an afternoon. You might, it might turn you into something that you love that Jerica mentioned and Amy into passions. So yeah.
I don't like gardening, but we went to Tree Folks and weeding for a couple of hours was very like that hands in dirt thing that
Yeah.
that kids know about and I don't. But that was amazing. So I'm with you. You know what I just realized is you all are all mentioning really awesome organizations and resources. And so one of the things we're going to do is ask you to send us the names of these orgs so that we can share them in the follow-up because I feel like if you're talking about the incredible work you're doing, I want to make sure that we can amplify that. Jerica, tell us what is the next thing for you? Are you going to start another 7 giving circles? You're like, what is the next thing for you in terms of giving back to the community?
I don't know about starting, but I'm very
Okay.
open to inheriting opportunities to amplify my giving. One thing that we're working on, well, hopefully I will be reviving a kind of tech grant program at my job where we'll be able to give away our tool to individuals in rural communities who need access to those types of tools and music therapy applications. Again, not starting it, but bringing it back to the organization. And the big thing that's next for me is I just joined the board of Impact Austin in June or July of this year. And just going from being a member and volunteer to having a seat at the table of the board to really help with strategic decision making. We've had a great 20+ years. What do the next 20 years look like? We're also really good about listening to the needs of our community partners and working with nonprofits. So like, what are things that we can do differently, maybe in our policies and procedures to kind of help people in the current climate? So really that's a big focus heading into the latter part of this year is just what can we do right now to continue to evolve and adjust, and what's the plan for the near future and long term to make sure that we are a good resource and a good partner to our nonprofits in Central Texas.
I just got an email from Impact Austin saying that you were revising sort of your membership because it was always one membership level. You could do more, but there was one membership level and you could come in at that. And if I say this wrong, Jerica, let me know. But if you come in at that level, that's great. But what you've done is you all have said, okay, this level works for a lot of people, but we're going to have a lower level for people who want to become engaged and don't necessarily have that level. And then we're also going to do a higher level for some people who've been giving at that level for a while. Let's have a third level of membership, which I thought was so smart and responsive and engaging and all the things. Did I describe that correctly?
Yeah, I believe that was a members only email. I
Oh,
don't think we're yet launched with that program just yet, but we do have a lot of exciting ways to get engaged coming down the pipeline. So it's been a busy
no.
summer. It's been a busy
We'll
summer.
cross that part off we won't include that. Sorry.
Become a member today.
Yes, become a
My
member
face
today,
is
and I will
very
forward
red.
you that email.
I'm sorry. I thought it was awesome. I'm excited about it.
It's very exciting, but just a little early.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry.
No
Thank you all.
worries. I'll just move you up a tier, Piper. It's fine.
Well deserved. Well deserved. And I will use my donor advised fund to do that. Oh, y'all, thank you so very much for being here. I think that we just have a couple minutes left. I'm just going to ask you if there's any final things that you want to say, but I will tell you that what you have shared today has been very inspiring. And I think that if someone listening feels um, like what you are doing is unreplicable. I think that what I would say is just pull one piece out. I could never, I think that the combination of the things that you all are doing are not my combination. I'm so impressed. But I can pull from the things. I can be like, oh, I did want to join that giving circle, or oh, I did want a mundane volunteer task, or oh, I did want to learn more about those. So thank you for presenting all the ways. Is there any final words that anybody wants to share before we say thank you and goodbye?
I think I would say just start somewhere. Just start. You will find that the nonprofit community in Austin is very welcoming and very interconnected. So just start in one place and you will build relationships and find opportunities to contribute in ways that you've never imagined. Just don't delay.
Agreed. Thank you. Okay, awesome. Well, that was sort of the perfect ending, Jerica. Thank you. And so thanks y'all so much for being here. Y'all, everybody listening, please just go get started. We'll have this blog up so that you can see all the amazing ideas and resources and click on the links. And then we're also just going to keep talking about other easy ways to give back, whether you keep tuna fish packets in your car to give to people on the corner, or you write notes to people that are in a senior living facility, or whatever it is. There's so many ways to just, as Jerica said, get started. So thank you, Alex and Amy and Jerica, for being with us today. Thank you for everyone for joining us, and let's go do it. Bye, y'all. Thank you.